Welcome back, everybody. It's great to have you out here. It is a beautiful spring morning here in Texas. If you are new here, my name's Rawls, and I have been spending the last, like 3 or 4 months restoring this Argosy camper. We took the shell off, obviously, and then I just finished the complete restoration of the chassis, subfloor, axles, everything. That means the shell's going back on real soon. A few things to do today before we get started on that. The C channel. What happened with that is, so the C channel is what hooks basically the chassis to the shell, and this is what it looks like right here. Extruded aluminum channel. The plywood fits in here. If you've watched the videos, you already know that. And then the shell will rivet onto this lip here. So does the side wraps, which are hanging down right here. So my plan was to reuse all this, but it is really torn up, and you got dents all along here, corroded down there. It's a pretty important component of the trailer as it attaches the shell to the chassis and brings it all together. So I figured I should just get new C channel. So I found, what is this place? Oh, Out of Doors Mart. I'll link it in the description. Found a place out in Tennessee that supplies this stuff. You can buy it in 16-foot links, and they're sending it now. So when it gets here, I can cut it how I need it and put it all along the sides. You don't need it on the corners, on the ends where it turns. It's already on the shell. Also, we got stabilizer jacks. Found these on Amazon. I think they're gonna do the job. I know what you're probably thinking. Why didn't you put these on when the trailer was upside down? Really good thought. I don't know why I didn't do that. Should have ordered these about 2 weeks ago. So now we're gonna have to crawl under the trailer today and get those bolted on, because the important thought about having these is when you put the trailer on, or when you put the shell back on, this needs to be nice and leveled out. You don't want it to be crooked and unflat. You want the whole trailer to be level, so when you drop the shell on, it's falling on a level surface, and you need the stabilizer jacks to do that. So those are going on today. The C channel will get here and we'll put it on, and then the shell's just about sealed up. Got all the windows in it. We can drop the shell on, and that's exciting. I cannot wait for that. So let's get started. Let's get to work. Morning, Mayor. It's a beautiful spring morning, isn't it, bud? Check that, sunshine's coming up. Oh, it's gonna be a good day. It's gonna be a good day. Yes, it is. You're a good dog. Okay, our C channel is here, just arrived. Let's bust this open and see what we got. Hopefully this all works, because it wasn't cheap, I will tell you that. Okay, there it is. It looks to be good to go. I was worried it would be a little bit tight on the plywood. It's actually a little bit big, which I don't really see being a problem, but there's nothing good. There's a tiny little space there, you can see. I think it'll work. So let's get to putting this on. Let's get started. Okay, so all the C-channel is cut and fit on. We'll have the door here. I'm raising this side up. We're gonna try to level it. I'm gonna get some blocks into the tires. You're not really supposed to be hanging it like that. I wanna fill the tanks before we put the shell on, make sure we don't have any leaks, because if there's a bunch of wire leaking out from plumbing, I wanna fix that before we put the shell on. Okay, so I want to take a real quick break to tell you about today's sponsor. And I want you to stick with me for a couple minutes here because I really, really love this product. Now, if you've watched the channel and you've watched these videos, you know that I sneeze all the time. I suffer from allergies really bad. Molecule was kind enough to send me one of their units. Now, the owners of Molecule have spent 20 years developing the technology behind this air filter. The PECO filter that they use is 100 times more effective than a HEPA filter. Molecule has been personally effective and verified by science, but most importantly, it's been tested by real people. The breakthrough PECO technology is offered in a wide range of their products. The Molecule Air is their large unit. You can put it in a bigger room. They have a Molecule Air Mini for smaller rooms, and you can order these as a bundle, so you can get multiple units to fit your needs and fit your home. Now, on top of all that, it's also a really cool looking product. I actually put this unit right between two of my very favorite pieces, an original rocking chair, that one of the first pieces of furniture I ever made in my bedroom, and then my Brenham settee, which is one of my favorite benches. So now I want to include my wife in on this one because the worst part about my allergies are at night. I can wake up in the middle of the night in these sneezing fits, and it keeps my wife up and drives her crazy. Real quick, I want her to tell you a little bit about our experience with the Molecule. Okay, so I'm gonna let Emily tell you, you know for a fact that when I sleep at night, it's pretty rough, right?
Yes, especially during allergy season.
Yeah, which is right now.
Yes.
So why don't you tell them about how this filtration system has helped me?
Okay, so for starters, I was super excited when Molecule wanted Andy to do a sponsorship. I think that the units are super cool and sleek. They're not an eyesore at all. But I will tell you guys, the first night we put that unit in our bedroom, Andy didn't wake me up one time.
I slept a lot better. Now, I still had some congestion, but it was a considerable amount of improvement.
Yeah, and yesterday you came in from work and you were so congested and feeling terrible. And I was like, oh man, it's going to be a rough night again. Didn't wake me up one time. He slept great. I love that it's something that is helping Andy not have to take medicine, and it's helping us both get really good sleep. I want one in every room in our house, for sure. And one definitely in the camper. I think we should put one in the camper and put one in every room of the house. Always got to appreciate the opinion of the woman of the house. You do not want a wife who does not get good sleep, I promise you. So. So don't just take it from me and my experience. This product has been verified and tested by third-party laboratories like the University of Minnesota's Particle Calibration Laboratory, which that sounds pretty high-tech. I would probably trust those guys. The great news is, if you want to sleep better at night like I have and get rid of your allergies, you can get 10% off your first order at Molecule, M-O-L-E-K-U-L-E, by using the promo code AndyRawls. Thank you so much to Molecule for sending the system. I'm very pumped to have it. Go down to the description, click the link, go get yourself one. Help support the channel by using your promo code AndyRawls. And now let's get back to this build. Okay, so we got it. That's the old one. This is the new stuff. It's primed and everything. Unfortunately, we had to buy 20 feet. They wouldn't sell me a 2-foot stick, but that's just the way it is. This is a heavier gauge too, I think. But that should work. Let's cut it to length. Why are you so good at that?
Okay, so I think we are ready to do this. We've got the truck hooked up to the trailer, to the chassis. Just got to get this up high enough to clear that. Now that's where I'm a little bit worried if we've got enough travel on our chain hoist to get it up high enough, because we're a lot taller than we were previously. So we're gonna go in and start cranking on this, and hopefully we got this. Okay, it is on and it is freaking exciting. I'm pumped to have this back together. Well, it's not completely back together. It's 4:30. We were getting a little bit tired and we were brainstorming about how we were gonna get this all situated, because it's not quite sitting on there straight. It was really hard to get the trailer backed in straight, get it all aligned perfectly. And so the shell is probably a little bit deformed and twisted and not quite where it needs to be. You can see here it's a little bit in, that plywood sticking out. But we have a game plan. One thing Hey, what you doing? Yeah, what do you think of it?
I like it, but are you all done with that part?
I'm close. What do you think, bud? Pretty cool. You want to climb in there? I think the kids approve, which is always good. Oh, here comes the boss back there. We'll see what she says. I'm sure she's gonna like it.
Wow.
Pretty cool, huh?
I want to show you the butterfly.
You think you can get in there?
What goes over the wheels?
So there's a wheel well that we still have to put in. There's a cover, a wheel well that goes over it. So
Is it like arched?
yes, it's arched. And
So
then
that's where you put cabinets over those?
shower's right about here.
Look, Mom, I
Toilet's
want to
right
show you the
here.
butterfly.
Shower's actually probably here, and that's the pantry.
Mom, I want to show you the
Cool.
butterfly.
I saw it, Bo. It's super
And your bench, like sitting area is back here, and then a big giant bed in the back. Do you remember when I told you I'd have it ready by the summer?
cool. Yes.
It's summertime.
It's
Almost.
a good thing I knew better.
She was right.
No offense.
She's always right.
You guys
So-
don't tear me apart in the comments how mean I am.
Yeah, be nice to my wife. I think maybe end of the year we could have this ready.
I think so.
She's still not feeling it. I think we can do it. Okay, so getting the shell on, it was not easy. It's actually really pretty challenging. It took about almost 2 full days of work for my dad and I. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of parameters you're trying to figure out. And it was just kind of so mentally exhausting and frustrating that I just didn't mess with the camera. First thing I had to do was obviously cut all those bolts off. We had a bunch of screws still hanging in the seat channel on the ends of the trailer. So we wanted to clear all that off, cut it off, clean it all up, make sure the aluminum was all straight on the outside, and then that way we could drop it down and move it. We didn't have screws digging into the plywood. The next thing I really wanted to figure out, I wanted to get that deck level. So we used the laser level, and basically we pointed it at each corner of the trailer and then in the center of the trailer. And we were able to get it, depending on the tolerance of the level, we were able to probably get it within 1/4 of an inch across the deck, nice and flat. So that's a great starting point for dropping the shell and getting it all oriented. So the first thing we did was we just tried to work it on and manipulate it and screw it all down. And the biggest problem I started running into, and we didn't notice this until we got it down, was the shell was actually off-center to the trailer. And on the back, it was really pretty bad. It was about 1 inch off-center. And you could notice it when you looked at it. You could see that the window was not in line with the frame and what will be the bumper when I put it on. That had me pretty concerned. I thought, well, maybe, probably what happened was, actually I know what happened was I was a little careless, not quite diligent enough putting on the plywood. I should have marked a center line on all my plywood and matched that to a center line on the trailer. That way I knew that plywood was centered. I think the back plywood had shifted about 1/2 of an inch. And I could tell it was hanging off one of the outriggers a little bit too much from the other side. So we brainstormed a lot. We thought, well, maybe we can force it over. We couldn't do that. Maybe we can take it all apart and move the plywood. Didn't want to do that. So what we ended up doing was basically the back sheet of plywood, I unscrewed it, and we had to come in with a gouge and do a little chisel work to chisel out where those old screws were so they would sink into a new spot, because we slid that piece over 1/2 inch. And so once we slid it over 1/2 inch, the piece in front of it was off by 1/4, because it was just a little bit, it kind of gradually got better as it got to the middle of the trailer. So basically what I did, once I moved that over, secured it, screwed it down, I took my track saw and basically just tapered a cut from the wheel well to that other back piece of plywood that had moved over. From there, we were able to drop the trailer on, and it actually worked out perfectly. I don't even understand fully why, but the window and everything was centered exactly, probably within 1/8 of an inch. So that worked out much better than I expected. So once we had that figured out, felt pretty good. We got the back screwed down, and then we just worked our way to the front. The front was a little tricky getting that front plate. I wanted to line it up in the same rivet holes that they were previously in, because I figured if it's in those holes, it's in the same place it was. So I had to take a clamp and kind of manipulate it and kind of really pull it over, get some Clecos in there and hold it in place. Now the plywood on the front and even on the back is not perfect shape to the shell. There's little spots in there where you get a 1/2 inch and even some spots where 3/4 inch overhang of C-channel. Unfortunately, I'm not going to go back and try to fix that. I don't think I need to. It's not that bad. I think it's going to hold fine. I can still get screws in there, and I can still bolt it to outriggers. It lays perfectly in those areas. So the front was a little bit off center. I think we were about 3/8 of an inch, but I was in the same holes as that plate was. So it must have come from the factory a little bit off. I wasn't about to try to fight over 3/8. We were going to just live with that. I couldn't see, when I looked at it, I couldn't see it. I can usually tell pretty easily if something is off, and I just couldn't see it, so it looked fine to me. All that work, all that took a couple of days of wrestling and figuring out. I mean, it was just one of those things where you're thinking in your mind about all these different parameters, and my dad always says the enemy of good is better, so you can just kind of keep trying to get it perfect and make things worse. So in the end, we managed to get it all positioned. I'm really happy with how it came out. We've got a lot of work to do to finalize it. It's not secured at this point, so we got to screw all the C-channel down, and then everywhere an outrigger hits on the frame on the C-channel, we need to bolt that. So that's going to be the next process, and then we'll wrap those side wraps up and rivet everything together, and then it is all secured and good. And that we'll take care of in another video. Also, I want to say real quick, these guys, my big old gantry cranes, they have been an amazing asset for me. Probably the smartest move I made was building those. And great thing is if you guys are going to remodel an Airstream, I have plans for these. Link in the description. Only $5 for the plans. These things will save you so much effort and time, speed things up. Get yourself a couple chain hoists. You can pick up the shell, you can pick up the chassis, I probably will use them again. They've been a huge, huge help. And so if you are remodeling an Airstream, go get yourself some plans and make yourself some gantry cranes. You will not be disappointed with that decision. So I hope you have enjoyed the video. I want to just say a big thanks to everyone who's been watching, following along, all the kind comments I've gotten, the great emails. Very much appreciate it. It's been a ton of work to get to this point. And I'm very, very excited to be here. So thank you for tuning in. Leave me a comment, let me know what you think, and we'll see you next time.